Hi everyone, Peter here out in the garage shop. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I apologize. Things have been a little bit turbulent. I've had some issues with how much time I can put into things. I've had some health issues that have kind of gummed up things a little bit. Kind of comes with getting older, as everybody is. So nothing too earth-shattering to report there. I mean, you probably don't know that I'm a kidney patient. I don't think I've ever said that to anybody. Don't feel sorry for me, please. It's no big thing. It's just a nuisance. Anyway, kind of an update. The shop, I've been in the process of trying to get it rearranged, which means cleaning out a lot of stuff and consolidating it and figuring out what to keep and what to either trade off or sell or, reluctantly throw out or scrap, which I really don't like to do, but sometimes that's what you need to do. And I have 530 square feet in this garage, and it is under air, so it's a nice work environment. But I want to move the phase converter out of here. The air compressor, I'm not 100% sure because the humidity in the air is a problem. So if I move the air compressor out of here, it's going to make more room. It's going to be quieter, but I'd have to deal with the water in the air. So there'll be that as it is. It's just stuff like that that wears on you among dealing with different things. Meanwhile, I have managed to acquire a few items. I picked up a couple of grinders, not anything spectacular, but interesting. I think there'll be videos coming up about those. Picked up a Greener number 2 barber press. I do have some machinery that's not in here that is destined to come in, and this is part of what the rearranging and reorganizing is for. I've also, in the past few years since I've been medically retired, I've done stuff for various people, little jobs, different things for vintage motorcycles. I'm getting away from that because it's fun to do, but I'm unreliable, unfortunately. I'll do a nice job for them, but I can't guarantee delivery, I just can't. So rather than, aggravate people by making them wait, I'd rather not do the work, it's just like that. I have plenty of my own stuff to do, plus the machinery itself is interesting to repair and improve and do things. So that's kind of where I am right now with all this, and I'd like to get doing some videos on a more regular basis. And I've mentioned this in the past about editing software, and I'm not a techno geek, and that's nothing wrong with being a techno geek, but you know your way around a computer and the different things involved with making good videos. I imagine I just need to bite the bullet and get some editing software and just start doing it, and you never learn unless you try, right? So hopefully I can get going with that. Sorry about that. Anyway, so what's coming into the shop for machinery, you may ask. Well, you guys probably don't really know what's in here at the moment, so I'll give you a quick rundown. I have a 14.5-inch South Bend lathe, World War II era. I think we dated it as 43 or 44. 14.5 South Bend is actually a kind of an oddball machine. There's a fair amount of them around, but not anything like the 13s or the 16s. It works well, but it is limited by its belt drive, and it doesn't have metric capability. And I do handle quite a bit of metric stuff, and I don't mind working with metric, so it's nice to have the ability to do both. I was going to sell or trade it off to replace it with a Clausen Colchester that I picked up last year, but I have to make space for the Clausen Colchester to come in. It's a 15 by 50, which is a pretty fair-sized machine. So I'm trying to decide if I want to give up the South Bend. It works really nice for a lot of things. And honestly, it's nice to have two lathes operating, especially if you have a setup that's in there and you're not done with it for some reason, or you need to make parts for the other machine that either aren't available or aren't readily available. So that's always in the back of your head when you're dealing with older stuff. I actually had a friend offer to help me buy a brand new lathe, but I just can't justify a brand new lathe. I'm not going to be doing work for pay to justify that kind of expense. So it's nice to have friends that are that generous, though. I mean, it really is. Meanwhile, I have a round ram Bridgeport that I use really often, and it works well, but it was in a production shop for a company I used to work for, and it was given to me as a Christmas bonus. I know some people would laugh, why would you want that instead of money, but some of you out there will get it, It was really nice. Instead of watching a scrapper come in and take it away to its grave, they gave it to me, and we're happy to do it, and I was happy to receive it. It's worn. It does need work, but with digital readouts, same as the South Bend, I put readouts on it. That gets you around the worn lead screws and lead nuts. And I have the Kearney & Trecker 5 horsepower 2CH in here, which some of you may know that those are really popular. I've had this machine since 1988, or excuse me, 89. And it came from New England, and it was originally spec'd out for New England shoe machine. So I'm the second owner of it, and it's really nice. It's been well taken care of. It's a very nice machine. I don't use it as often as I'd like to. In fact, it sat here, hadn't been used for probably 5 years, possibly longer. Things were just going the way they were going for various reasons, and I didn't get a chance to use it, and it just kind of broke my heart all the time to walk by it and not have something for it to do, because it is such a nice machine to operate. So with that said, there'll be some work coming up for that. I'm going to start making a little more fixturing and do some different fabrications from around here for the property and stuff. And I'll get to what that means. And again, you folks don't know exactly what I mean by that, and I'll try to explain it, hopefully without dragging this video out so much that you're going to sleep. Anyway, I did pick up another Bridgeport last year, and it needs some work, but it is a think it's a series 2. It doesn't really matter to me exactly what it is. It has a vary drive instead of the stepped pulleys, and it has, I believe it's a 2-horse motor on it. It could be a 3, but I believe it's a 2, and it has the bigger table. So I want to get that in here and get that adjusted up and get, readouts on it. And speaking of readouts, I want to put readouts on the Kearney and Trekker, which also makes that more user-friendly, if you will. It has 250 thousandths dials on it that are actually pretty accurate because the lead screws are in good shape. But nonetheless, it's hard to beat readouts. And I just, once I put the readouts on my machines, I was flabbergasted at how civilized it makes things. So that's the mechanized scenario as far as that stuff goes. To complement those machines, I picked up a dual bandsaw, 16-inch dual, that is in nice shape. I'm going to have to get it in here and get looking at it. This stuff is in a spot on the property, tarped up and undercover, and so I haven't been able to really do anything with them, even just little stuff here or there, because they're stored up for right now. I also picked up a K.R. Wilson 50-ton, it's a 2-stage press. Some of you folks may be familiar with the K.R. Wilson series of presses. They're very industrial. They have a very good reputation. Unfortunately, the company went out of business, near as I can tell, somewhere around the late 70s, early 80s. But again, they're very well respected, and they're well made from what I can tell. The pump needs to be rebuilt on it. It leaks a little bit. I mean, it was in a production shop. Again, it came from Richmond, Virginia, from an electric motor shop that unfortunately went out of business about this time last year, I want to say. They auctioned off and put about 100 people out of work, which I think what it was is the owners, they were just at the point of retirement, and rather than try to sell the company to somebody else, they just liquidated it, which is too bad, but time marches on. So, okay, so that's it for in here. It's not real exact. I am going to be doing some things, some other things too, like behind me here is K.O. Lee tool grinder. And that came from an aerospace place in Oklahoma. I've had that. It came without any accessories or anything. So what's on it is stuff that I've picked up here and there, and trades and little auctions and stuff. And I also have speaking of grinders, I have a Bryce Jewett end mill grinder, and it's a dedicated machine for end mills. Works good, has some limitations compared to this K.O. Lee, but it is quick. You can change the 5C collet, put your end mill in, and cut the end, sharpen the ends real quick. The side flutes is a little funky, the way the machine's built, and I'll do a video on it coming up. The way it's made is, like I said, it's a little funky. It would work, and I think it's going to take some of me getting used to it. And again, it has limitations. The number of flutes and the number of cutting edges, the more that's there, the less effective it is because of the way the machine's laid out. So that's that. And that, all right, that I promise, that's the synopsis of what's been going on in here. So what kind of projects do I have around the property? Well, I do have a Clark, Michigan 55B loader that needs some work, and I have a Case 580D backhoe that I use them around the property to maintain it. We have 9+ acres. So There's some other things that I want to do, but the backhoe is going to need some brake work done. It's going to need some cylinder work. I'm going to make a thumb for the backhoe, and then the loader, I need to do something with that to mount my root rake to it. The bucket's kind of worn out and it's rusted and it needs to be addressed. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on. And there's always projects. You know how it is when you're working with these things, there's always projects. So that's kind of where I've been for, I guess the last video I posted was probably 2-3 months ago. But hopefully, you know, you folks, you're not too mad at me for not putting up a video here recently, and hopefully this is a little bit, kind of sheds a little light on what's been going on. So, speaking of you viewers, I want to tell you how much I appreciate the new subscribers, despite the fact that I have not put up a video for quite a while. The subscriber count has gone up, and I really appreciate those of you that have joined the channel. And you know, those of you that watch the videos and enjoy them, I appreciate that. And I hope that in the future I can put up some content that you'll find interesting, or at least entertaining. And don't be afraid to comment, good or bad. I'm far from perfect. I'll be the first one to laugh at myself when I make a mistake. So, and believe me, I've made some. I've got one right here. This is a carburetor that I had cleaned it all up, got it ready to go, and I was taking the air bell off of it so that I could use it in the Kawasaki Bighorn that has a rotary disc. It's on the side of the engine, so it has to go behind this cover. I have it in here someplace. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the cover, and it fits in behind here like this on the side of the engine. Well, in the process of doing it, I was going to mill it off, but I decided, oh, the quick way to do it will be to put it in the lathe, and so I was turning the bell off, and it was just about to break through, and it jumped out of the chuck and it broke it here. So what I did was I bandsawed, I mean the carburetor's trashed, so I bandsawed the side out here and then down through the middle of it so that you could see all the circuits. And I'll be making a video about how this carburetor works and what all these pathways do and all these jets and everything like that. So stuff like that's coming up. I just there's days like after dialysis, sometimes it's like it's a hangover. It's a dialysis hangover, and that's all I can describe it as. And some days it, you know, it's mild and it goes away, you know, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and other times it drags on until the night. So in the future, if sometimes there's a lag, I apologize, but I'm going to try to pick up the pace, and hopefully this sheds some light on where I am and what's been going on. And again, thanks to all you subscribers and to everybody watching this video. Y'all take care, and thank you very much.